Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Aquaman, issue number 25. Okay, I read Aquaman, I love Aquaman, nothing else to really say about Aquaman, except that I never really review Aquaman. The reason for that is I actually read a lot of comics that I don't review. The problem is reviewing takes a really long time. Let me get more into that a little bit later. For right now, guys, if you've been reading the Aquaman series, you know that the last run that just ended, the storyline that just ended, Corum Rath took over. He reinstated the Crown of Thorns, and there's the idea that he's rediscovering and trying to distribute more magical items that were lost around the kingdom, all sorts of different artifacts and things like that. Right now, this is probably one of the best overarching storylines, especially in regards to the lore of Atlantis itself. This is one of those things where even though I know that Namor over in Marvel Comics came first, there's never been anything put into the Atlantis there that there has been here. And just the storyline alone is amazing. Everything they're putting into it. So in the current comic right now, still in the last one, Murk, very loyal soldier, actually just went up and killed Aquaman. Yeah, killed him dead, right in front of his wife. Right in front of, they're not married on the surface yet and all that good stuff. Anyway, right in front of Mira. So, killed her dead. Killed him dead. And he looked like he fell down to the depths. Well, in this issue now, currently 25, he acknowledges that I ran him through with my blade on my right arm. I took him down and I buried him in an unmarked grave. The former king of Atlantis is dead. Okay. Either he's not as bright as we already don't think he is, or he did something else that's very loyal. Because he did, if you guys do remember in that last issue, in issue number 24, when he killed him, I'm making air quotes now, when he killed him, he did say, my king, my Lord King. So, he's still loyal to him. He's loyal to the throne, but, he's kind of like a Shi'ar royal guardsman. He's loyal to whoever's in charge of the throne, whoever's sitting on the throne. So anyway, in this issue especially, we seem to find out all sorts of interesting aspects about the Ninth Tride. Now, the Ninth Tride, it kind of makes me think of District 9. And I really want you to think about that analogy because, that's kind of what this is. This is where the mutations are. And they're considered horrible. They call them, on both sides, they're called Hadelin. Now, Hadelin means the bottom feeders. The ones who live so far down in the trenches that they never get any kind of sunlight. So, when you think about that in a scientific manner, all of the energy, every single iota of energy that we get on this planet, above and below, comes from the sun. So if you're so low in the trenches that you don't get, or living underground, that you don't get direct access to that sun, then you're only getting minimal amount of energy from eating the fish that do go up top and then go down. So you think about that, you're literally secondhand eating, and everything is just literally, you're living hand to mouth. And that's exactly what they did with this ninth Tride. They have they're considered undesirables, even though they're called Hadelin by their enemies or the royal family, the royals of the or from the other trides even in Atlantis. The fact is they call themselves Hadelin too, but they use it with a term of pride. Now, what's cool is that they've got a whole bunch of undeclared magical items also. That's interesting because we're again finding out more about this history that I'm falling in love with more and more. So Mira, meanwhile, is despondent. Okay, she's up on the surface world. She's up in Amnesty Bay specifically, and she's just she's hating life right now because she got to see Arthur killed. Well, she gets a phone call, another air quote, from Vulco, who says, yo, lady, he's still alive. Get down here. Everybody's going to need as much help as we possibly can. So she's like, oh, my king. And she goes. Well, she might have a little problem because, first off, Vulco has been having a few issues. He's very outspoken he's from the Ninth Tride also. He's very outspoken against the current government. All right. And I want you to think about just had, like, I know a lot of people are saying that Marvel is doing this whole SJW thing. All right, guess what? This comic is also. I honestly want you to think about the upstart king who is paranoid and is spreading his paranoia all over the place and trying to make people afraid of things that they don't have any reason to be afraid of. Literally, here's the poorest, most despondent people they're despots from the Ninth Tride. They literally have no power to harm anyone, but they're being called all of these names, right? And the idea is that no, these guys have to be weeded out. All right, we have to take the things that they've got and keep them where they belong, and then we've got to put this crown of thorns up. Sounds kind of like a big wall to me. All right, and we've got to keep out the surface dwellers and cut off all contact with them, because darn it, we are a powerful nation, and we used to be a powerful nation. We need to make Atlantis great again. Those words were not specifically spoken, but you tell me those words were not implied. So yeah. We're talking some serious look into politics into this, real world politics, simply being transferred over a little bit. It doesn't take much at all to realize just how insanely realistic that this storyline is. And I can't help but to say I love it. Most of the times I don't want to see real world politics in my comics, but this comic pulls it off in a way. Go ahead. Try and write a better story. I'd love to see it. I would love to read it. In the meantime, we've got this. So the big thing that's going on right now is that Aquaman is back. And when I say Aquaman is back, no. Aquaman himself, he's being called Aquaman. Now, there's a quick reference here to Batman, because he's like, Aquaman seems to have lost some of his memory. And there was obviously quite a long period of time difference, because Aquaman was clean shaven in issue 24. This issue, he's got himself we're not talking about a scruff. No, this guy's full on like Chia Pet stage 2, all right? At the very least. He's got a full beard, all right? I'm not talking about boom and bushy like mine, but no, he's got a beard. There's no seeing through it or anything like that. That's clearly a beard, all right? That's not 5 o'clock shadow. That's not, I forgot to shave for the last, 2 months because I'm getting a little scruffy. No. He's got a full-on beard. So maybe it's Chia stage 3, whatever. I forget how those things went. Anyway, so yeah, and he decides, he does this whole thing where he's going to start saving people but in the shadows. So instead of being surrounded by bats, he's surrounded by fish. I know it sounds weird when I say it, but guys, if you read the comic, you know as well as I do that it worked, and it worked really well. It was beautiful. I loved the rendering of it. Here's the funny thing about it also. It didn't last very long. So who knows how long happened in between these two issues, 24 and 25. A long time happened, but still, this comic itself kind of felt a little bit rushed. I wanted to see a lot more. I wanted to see an entire 6 issues, all right, an entire storyline devoted to him operating from the shadows, him being the Batman of the deep, saying the saturated Batman, like however you want to call it, some way cooler than that. But just, you know what? Forget the Batman, just the Aquaman. Like, he's actually being called what the surface dwellers call him in Atlantis. And that's amazing. That's very cool. I don't remember that, actually officially happening before. Very cool. Doesn't last long. They realize that it's Arther. Word's getting back to the king, the new king, Corum Rath, the House of Wrath, right? That it's getting back. So there's going to be a full-on manhunt, fish hunt, aqua hunt, however you want to look at it, and things are about to get really rough from this point on. Guys, I'm going to give this comic an A, because this comic deserves an A. I love Aquaman, all right? And maybe I'm being a little bit biased here, but yeah, this is really good stuff. This is a comic that I think that people should be reading. Reviewing, listen, here's what's going to happen. I told you I was going to get to this a little bit later. I review a lot of comics, okay? And I don't just go up live and, hi, here's my face and, what's up and all that stuff. I review a lot of comics. And in order to review those comics, I also do a lot of editing. I want to make sure you guys can see the pictures. I want to see, make sure that you guys have a good understanding of what's going on. It does take a lot of effort, editing, rendering, all that good stuff to do, and sound editing also, in order to do my videos. So I'm not saying this particular issue alone, this particular review alone. But if I don't see some action, saying on the, like, some response, some viewer response on my Aquaman issues, yeah, I'm not going to stick with it. Just, it's not, I'm still going to read the comics. I just won't be reviewing them. Like I said, there's a lot of comics I read that I don't review because it's just, I have to pick and choose. It's too much work to do so many. So, hey, if nobody else is, I don't know who else is reviewing these comics. I don't look around on YouTube like that. But hey, if I'm the only guy doing it, then I'll keep doing it. If I see that there's some hits on here, I'll keep doing it. But if I don't see any hits, well, you'll never know. Anyway, guys, Professor Pill, Comic Book University, class dismissed.